Ms. Erin Martins McDonnell launched her book entitled Packet of Bureaucratic Effectiveness in Developing States. According to her, Ghanaians are picking up all sort of tasks directly in their job because they are doing what they have to do to improve the sustainability of the country.
Ghanaian bureaucracy in the 70s, so there are some few things I know. One thing I know in terms of comparatively in Africa, the proportion of Ghanaians in administration in the late colonial administration was higher here than in many other places. So when colonialism went, it left behind people with some more institutional memory. And then also, up until, I'm trying to remember, I feel like the last piece I read was maybe published in 72, so it was probably the research was conducted in the late 60s. It was a very prestigious career to work in the Ghanaian bureaucracy. It was stable, formal employment. And so at a time, we know in a lot of places, if something is considered a desirable career, then you can attract the best graduates. So that also is a potential feature. As to what happened that eroded that I was a small child when that was happening, so I missed.
And if those people can be strengthened and given what they need, the support they need, then they will be able to grow and then help others. And that will help the country to grow effectively and independently.
Of all the countries in the world up until the 1970s, we have data on those who went abroad to the US, the UK, Germany to do schooling. And the return migration rate for Ghanaians was higher than anywhere else, by an order of magnitude. So up until at least that period of time, you had people who were going abroad, getting advanced schooling, and coming back because they were very invested in being a part of the state. Almost twice as high as anywhere else. So there were real human capital movements that were coming, and I think it also taps into
She also said that working within the Ghanaian systems has already been figured out, and then that makes working very easily. So it would rather be easy to use people from the country for advertisement and other stuff rather than going for models and go farther, and then we would yield more seats as compared to people from outside the country.
Working within the Ghanaian system, it works well here. They've already figured that out. And I think for me that's more important to grow than when international organizations bring an international model that's never been tried in Ghana. They bring it, there's money behind it, but it doesn't work. You have to take years to figure out all the things that don't work about it before you can even start to fix it. So rather to take those things that are already working well, grow them, nurture them, spread them, allow them to help those people teach other kinds of people, bring them along, help them teach the next generation of public leaders. I think that's a really promising thing for continuing to improve the government in more effective states in Ghana. To like 1950 in Brazil. And you have the choice, would you like to make many small gains over the next 50 years? Or do you want to take a big, splashy, exciting 5-year plan where everything will be amazing in 5 years, but comes 5 years and nothing has changed? Every year you face that choice. Should we make small, real changes that actually change things and maybe will last? Or should we aim for the moon, fail, and grumble about how we failed? So I think if we look at the long course of history, making small, real gains that you can sustain is an important thing, and they add up. It's like saving money. If you keep adding that money, eventually it really grows, as opposed to trying to take a big gamble on a lottery ticket that maybe won't pay off. So to me, I think we have so few examples of states where really in 5 years they change themselves entirely. But if you can really add up those small gains, it will become something over time, and it may not even take that long. There are some places where you can get a lot of change in a small area very fast. One agency in 2 years can really turn around and make a big improvement to how things are going. Then if you sustain that one, build it, because that's the boring work people don't want to invest in, but it matters. Once you have a good thing, you have to hold on to it, then add another one. Hold on to that one, add another one. Soon you have a lot that's really going well. I think in some places you will feel the impact. So we were talking about the student at Legon who's coming to look at DVLA. So for DVLA, if you go for your driver's license, you'll feel the impact. Even in 2008, when they started to get better, I went to go see it myself. I don't know if you know, in the US, DVLA, our DVLA in the US is a joke. Like if you want to talk about the worst bureaucracy, you're going to name the driver's license place. So I went and I sat and I watched, and they were doing really well. They were moving cars through so fast. They were getting licenses going through so fast. So I think those are things where when they're on the front line, you will feel it. But there are many parts of the state that Ghanaians don't feel every day. If you're working on some part of the bank where you're supervising banks, You as an everyday Ghanaian may never encounter that person. All you know is that you may not even know that they're holding your bank accountable. They're trying to make sure that your bank has the reserves that they require so that if you need your cash out, you have it. You may never encounter the men the men and women from the National Communications Authority who get into small trucks and they drive all around the country to monitor the frequency use, to make sure people are using licensed frequencies right, that what they have paid the government to do, they're actually doing, that no one is doing what they shouldn't be doing. You may not know that they're doing that work, but that work is making your cell phones work better. It's enabling a system of commerce around cellular communication to grow in a way that impacts everyday Ghanaians' lives. So there's parts of the government that may be going well, and you just don't see until it trickles down how it's touching your everyday life. But of course, people also understandably care about what sometimes is called grassroots or public frontline work. That is when you encounter teachers or health workers who are doing well. And I think those are places where you have gains to be made and also things to be coming. I got sick, I went to a hospital, I had the best blood draw I've ever had in my life. It barely felt like anything. So you have people everywhere who are working hard. But if we get them together, then you can really start bringing something up in a way that you will feel. That you'll feel and see in your everyday impact. I hope that there are people already in all of the Ghanaian institutions that I've ever been a part of who want to do their job well, who want to build and become more effective. And I think if those people can learn more about how to do that work, if they can learn from examples, I'm not giving the advice myself, I'm just bringing together the advice that Ghanaians themselves have worked out. If more people who want to do well but don't know how to do that, what that looks like, can learn from those positive
stories are well told, and that is what I appreciate about her work.
I see 2, 3. Okay, so 3 hands. Your name, where you're from, McDonald. Give us a few words based on
what I've done, like some observations in the courtrooms